What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? I am Vybe, and welcome back to the channel for another Dead by Daylight video. Now, the other day on stream, I was asked to go to Tier Maker and do a ranking of how I think the killers are. From S to F, what killers are the best, what do I think is the worst. And I thought it was a good idea, and I'm surprised I hadn't done it yet. So that's exactly what this video is that's part of the stream, talking about where I put these killers, why they rank where they're at. So hopefully you're going to enjoy. Maybe you agree, maybe you don't. At the end of the day, this is my personal thoughts of how these killers are ranked. Some you may agree with, some you may not. And, you know, we all have different variations of how we think these killers can play. Leave your personal opinions, what you think I got right, what I got wrong, in the comments below. And, yeah, hope you enjoy. Don't forget you can watch live almost every night, twitch.tv/VybeGG. Where I'll mostly be playing Dead by Daylight, other great variety games, and you can also really help the channel out by helping me hit that subscribe button. We are so close to the 1,000 subscriber mark. It would mean a lot. I appreciate you guys. Have a great rest of your day, and enjoy the video. Alright, so when it comes to our tiers, S is obviously this is based solely on their gameplay and how good of a killer they are, and from a survivor aspect, how much you hate going against them, because you know what type of game you're probably in for. So this incorporates both sides, playing as and playing against. And this is also after 5.3.1, so all the updates, all the reworks, everything is taken into account into this. We'll also be taking in, considering, because obviously the killer by themselves is one thing, we're going to assume using probably their best add-ons or best combination of add-ons that someone might use. And starting with the Trapper. Now, after Trapper's rework, he went from a very solid D to F tier. But now he starts with the 2 base traps being carried. A lot of his add-ons got completely reworked to help him feel more modern and useful. You can combine more add-ons. You can still carry more traps. He is... When I see a Trapper now, I know I'm probably in for a better game, because they aren't running Corrupt Intervention as much anymore. They don't need the setup time as much. They can get a few traps, get them in strong spots, and then come. A Trapper can still lose that early gen, that second gen, and still dominate for the rest of the game. Honestly, with the reworks and with the add-ons, I still don't see him being a god tier, which sucks. You know, Trapper is the OG killer. But Trapper, with everything that they made changes to, goes from probably the FD to low B, high C, and we'll put him in the B tier. Like, if I see a Trapper now, I'm actually scared, especially with a lot of the add-ons. Now, we move in to the Wraith, who, some small nerfs that kept him out of A. He was in A tier before, in my opinion. Being able to move quicker than most killers, the all-seeing letting him see, break things faster. The only downside is his lunge being nerfed after the rework does hurt him, but I don't think it changes his gameplay too much. So I would normally have had Wraith in a high A tier. Instead, I'm just going to say he's lower A tier, but he's still an A killer. Wraith is one of the best killers still. That's undebatable. Now, Billy is a hit or miss type of killer. A good Billy is scary. He has the chainsaw. He's got speed. He has an insta-down. The only problem with Billy is a good Billy is not as good as a good nurse, a good any other killer that takes time to really learn. And I think DBD says, oh, he's an easy killer to use because he has the one-shot. His add-ons still suck. Billy, I think, has some of the worst add-ons in the game. So when you play Billy, you're just playing basically him, and Billy is a killer outside of the chainsaw, you are relying on perks instead of add-ons. Now, he still has great ability, great speed, he has good map control, and if you are good with the turns on Billy, Billy's one where it's like, actually the killer's skill matters instead of just being the base. So Billy, I think, fits right into the C tier for a casual player. A good Billy definitely moves into AB, but there's someone else with a chainsaw who I think is much more superior to Billy, and I don't see them being on the same tier. Hint, hint. We have our first entry into the S tier. Nurse is the strongest in the proper hands. A baby nurse is a baby nurse. That's always the thing. But when you're playing high level, nurse is a god. A high killer nurse, high tier nurse, it's game over. You're not beating that. A nurse who can time their blinks, who can know the map, is detrimental. You may get a gen if you're lucky. I hate going against nurses. I do. I'm also a very bad nurse when it comes to my own playstyle. I've not taken the time to learn her, even though I probably could and should. But when I'm playing Survivor and I go against a nurse, I get stomped. Me and my team, we just get stomped. Unless it is a very rare baby nurse, but a nurse at her best is one of the best killers in the game. And we go from one of the best to, unfortunately, one of the worst. Myers just has no map pressure whatsoever. His stalking is unique. You see a Myers, you always know, if this was based on as a survivor, how fun they are to go against, Myers is an A, S tier to go against. A Myers game is always a fun game, but playing as Myers is a D. He has no pressure. He takes so long to stalk. Myers needs a complete rework. Like, changing the Vanity Mirror and the Judith's Tombstone was not enough. Myers needs a lot more. The only thing that keeps him out of F is that his add-ons. The Fragrant Tuft to Hair, the Tombstone piece, being able to permanently have a insta-down, being able to kill people without them being hooked, is the only thing that keeps Myers out of F. He is literally, when I look at everyone here, you can play a lot of these killers base. Myers is carried by his add-ons. So, and like I said, I'm including the add-ons in this tier list because you're not going to just go into a game without your add-ons. So Myers is in the D. And I would really like to see a rework to at least get him into a B tier, but who knows what behavior's got planned. Next we have Hag, whose weakness is she's a slower killer. Hag is not someone you want to be in chases with. You need them to step on the traps. But when I see a Hag game, I hate it. You know that a Hag has probably half of the map locked down. She has a 3-gen locked. If you're getting into the basement, you might as well just quit. You're dead. Your teammates aren't saving you, or it's a trade-off. Like, a good Hag is terrifying. Especially a smart one who, A, there's no flashlights in the game, so you can't burn her traps. And even if, most likely, a Hag will run Franklin's, put a trap on your item if you go back for it, and just hit. Hag is the definition of a hit and run. You teleport, smack, reset, trap, and go. If you get into a chase with the Hag, you have the Hag beat. But if you let the Hag play on her advantages of teleporting to spots on the map, Hag wins. But if you are getting chased by the Hag, you have it. So Hag's ability to fall in a chase, because even if you're in a chase and she stops to put a trap, you get distance on the Hag. And as a 4-4 killer, she's not catching up. She doesn't have mobility or a throwable item like some other 4-4s. So getting into a chase is the big weakness with Hag, which keeps her I would say A tier. I'm gonna go B for the Hag. But a lot of her add-ons do really help, especially being able the increased teleportation range and setting traps faster are bueno. So I put her above Trapper, but I think she's not in A. But you know who is in A? I don't think there's any question that the Doctor is an A tier killer. He doesn't need barbecue. He reveals you. He can stun you. Doctor has a great ability to hold loops, to hold gen pressure. Like, even without a barbecue, his add-ons to either increase the duration of illusionary pallets, illusionary Doctor, the red terror radius, the iridescent queen, so that if you're zapped, you can pass the static onto a teammate. Doctor has super good add-ons. Depending on what perks you play and what map you get, Doctor is most likely going to be a very good killer. The only thing that I think keeps the Doctor out of being an S tier killer is, what you'll see with the other S tiers they all have in common, is a lot of speed. While Doctor has map control, he doesn't have the ability to get to one side of the map to the other in a blink. Go away. Go away. I don't want those links there. So, honestly, I love both of these killers, and it's hard to... I would say, thanks to the rework of the lunge, the Doctor is higher than the Wraith. Now, we come into our next 4-4 killer. The only difference between this one and the Hag is she has a ranged weapon. Huntress is a B. She would be lower because with the lullaby and always hearing the Huntress hum, you know when she's nearby, which really gives her away compared to other killers' terror radius abilities. Like, you can even monitor Huntress and you know, even without a terror radius, you hear the lullaby, you know Huntress is nearby. Now, normally I would have put Huntress in A, but after a few months ago when they reworked the iridescent head and you can only bring one per game, that really nerfed that add-on. A lot of her other add-ons aren't as strong as... I mean, the wind-up time is a good add-on, the flight speed's a good add-on. Decreasing the time you take to locker doesn't matter. Most Huntress mains will be running an Iron Maiden so they can do it faster and get the ability of keeping survivors out of the locker. Now, the one thing about Huntress that does need fixed, and this is a nerf to her, is her hitboxes. I've seen A, as Survivor, I know Huntress missed me, and as Killer, I know I've missed a Survivor. And the hit still registers, which it should not. So, that would be a nerf technically. That would probably put her either lower B or C, but... right now, Huntress is a B killer. She has range. And honestly, if a good Huntress can get the hatchets, you're in trouble. Staying in the Bs, we do have Bubba, who is probably, I'd say, better than Trapper, better than Huntress. Obviously better than Billy. His chainsaw strikes way more fear. Like, while they both have the insta-down effect, Bubba is a better, and I hate to say, his chainsaw revs faster. He could stay in a chase with you. Billy needs the sharp turns. Bubba has better control of the chainsaw, better rotation. Against both of these killers, you're going to be wanting to prematurely drop pallets. But Bubba can stay better in a chase. He has add-ons that increase his speed while using the chainsaw. Now, his weakness is the tantrum. Whereas Hillbilly, if you hit, a tree, it's just a, oh, okay. Whereas Bubba, you hit something, you are burning all of your tokens on your chainsaw, and that survivor is getting distance on you that Billy could recover quicker, that Bubba can't. But when you see a Bubba, you know you're in for a more rough game. Especially at vaults, at loops, at pallets. Whereas a Billy will probably get stunned by a wall, if you are still halfway through, Bubba is hitting you in these pallets, in these vaults, and you are down. They will take the tantrum still to confirm that down. And then Bubba's just ability as a proxy camping killer, face camping killer is unmatched. Like, you're downed. Your teammate who came to rescue you is gone. Like, it is over. Now, after his nerf, and Freddy used to be very high A tier. Then they nerfed the God, what's it called? The Dream Snares from 7 to 5. They nerfed the Dream Pallets from 10 to 7. The rest of his add-ons are completely useless. Freddy, like Myers, whereas Myers is carried by his add-ons, Freddy is carried by perks, which gives him a little bit more of an edge. Because whereas you can get a barbecue with Myers, a barbecue with Freddy lets you know, hey, they're at that gen, and his ability to still teleport gen to gen gives him that advantage. And if you catch someone in a snare or in the fake pallet, the time that takes probably gives you the time to catch up. And as Freddy, being the shortest killer in the game, I may be wrong, his range is still stupid on his lunge, which is a huge thing for him. No other killer can expand to get a hit just like Freddy can, which is his one unique advantage. So while after his nerfs, he went from A, B. I do still enjoy playing Freddy, but a lot of the nerfs and changes took him out of these top tier spots, and he is probably a C tier killer. Hopefully they can rework a lot of his add-ons. Staying in that C tier area, actually, while Pig is a good stealth killer, her stealth is not as good as Wraith's, as Myers, or as Ghostface. She has the weakest stealth of all of them, while it is easier for her to control it than the others, and still, outside of Wraith, be the fastest one. Pig's advantage comes from the traps, causing that chaos by making them focus on their hats, focus on gens. But the only issue is you need them to get the traps active. And even with a lot of her reworks and add-ons, hold on, okay, that ad ended. It has made her more viable. So I would honestly put her above Freddy now, which is a crazy thing to say from a few months ago, when Pig would be here, Freddy would be here. Now Freddy, you are... I think Pig still has room to grow, but Pig is still a fun killer to play. Like, even if it's a bad game, you're gonna have fun going against a Pig. You're going to have fun playing as Pig. The add-ons are either hit or miss, but Pig is just all-around fun. While she isn't the strongest killer, she is probably one of the most fun killers. Next, into the D tier, we throw the Clown. While the bottles are annoying, the way to beat a Clown, you pre-drop the pallets, you keep the loops open. Clown, like Myers, has no map pressure. Even with the yellow bottle, it takes too long to disperse. You throw that bottle, you're still waiting 3 to 5 seconds before you can even use its effect and get a short haste. It's not even a... excuse me, 4:15 a.m. It is not a long-lasting speed boost. It is about 10 seconds of a speed boost to maybe get you closer to a gen that may already pop by the time you get to it. And most of his add-ons are pretty useless. Now, with the exception of the Pinky Finger, which is the insta-down if you hit someone with a bottle. So you have to directly hit them with the bottle is the catch. It's not like just get them in the gas and they're exposed. No, you have to hit them with the bottle. So it still requires good aim. While it's a strong add-on, it has a catch. And then mostly all of his other add-ons are pretty useless. Clown is one of those killers. If I see a clown, I'm not expecting a too challenging game. And when I'm playing clown, I'm, not expecting a full 4K every time. Next, into the S tier. Even after the rework, Spirit is still one of the strongest killers in the game. The mind games with Spirit, even after the rework, not enough survivors are paying attention to the kick-ups of dust, to everything else. The Yamaoka's haunting is still incredibly strong, even with the mother-daughter ring not showing any scratch marks now. The speed that Spirit gets during her phasing is, I believe, makes her the fastest killer in the game. Even faster than a Blight, faster than Billy. I may be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it makes her the fastest. So Spirit has great map control. You don't know when Spirit is coming for you. Like, you'll hear the sound, and even then it may be too late. Spirit is right there, even as a 4-4 killer, the best of the 4-4s. Her add-ons, even after nerfs, the best ones are still very good. Spirit can dominate any game. Even if you are just learning Dead by Daylight, even a weak Spirit player is still strong because they're playing Spirit. Legion. Ugh. It's hard to decide exactly where Legion fits between C and D. Because while the process of stab, mend, repeat is very annoying, it's not a down unless you somehow just fail to mend. Like, there's no real damaging here. Legion's map pressure, while good with the frenzy, unless you're using the proper add-ons, doesn't last long. And then you still take about 5 seconds to recover from a frenzy. If you don't hit someone in that time, it's very easy to get knocked out of your frenzy with just a simple miss or a pallet drop or something like that. Now, while Legion's map pressure is better than, say someone like Huntress who relies on the hatchets because Legion can move faster, you hit someone with a mend, and unless you're going to stay on them, and unless you're running Thanatophobia, you're going to hit that person, and then go on to the next person that your ability is telling you to go hit. That person will mend, get on a gen, and you lose that pressure. So, while Legion is decent map pressure, a lot of Legion's ability to down survivors is not the strongest, and below Freddy, but not a D tier, but lower C. Now, yeah, Plague is about to be high. After the rework, Plague went from, a C, D. Every change that they made to Plague, to the add-ons. When I see a Plague now, it is not good. And I mean, like, as a survivor, I am expecting very bad games. The rate at which survivors are cleansing now to avoid everything against Plague, they're cleansing more than I've ever seen. Because Plague is just that strong now. Well, Plague isn't an S tier because even though Plague can get the insta-downs, can infect everything, her ability to traverse the map is still slow, but she can control the map. If she has a 3-gen or ability, close the hatch, all Plague needs to do is puke on one door, watch the other, and it's obvious which one you're at if you get sick. Plague is very, very strong now. Playing Plague has never been this good. Also another one who probably, I think I normally would have had Ghostface in C. I'm going to move Ghostface into the B tier. Now, with the recovery time of the Shroud being from 30 to 24 seconds base is huge. And now, while all the other recovery add-ons did get nerfed, it doesn't change a lot because of the fact Ghostface's other add-ons all suck. That's just facts. But the ability to just keep stalking, get to the person 99, oh, you're revealed, just keep a chase. Use Tremors, you have Gen Pressure to block off gens. You have an insta-down, and a stronger one than Myers. Because whereas Myers needs to keep stalking and have it for a limited time and then control the map, Ghostface is stalk this one person while also having individual stalk on the other survivors that he can still apply pressure to them. Ghostface's insta-down is super good. And as the second killer who is actually able to crouch and get low, stay hidden, gives Ghostface a unique playstyle. Plus, Ghostface, I think, Ghostface, much like a pig, is one of those killers. It's always going to be just some fun, weird, unexpected type of game. Nope. Okay, can we get rid of those? There we go. Demi. Let's get you ranked before you disappear forever. And honestly, I would put... Demi is in this B-C range. And I will say B, because Demi has really good add-ons. The whistle to let you know when someone is on a portal. Leprose Lycan to basically be a barbecue and reveal auras whenever you teleport. Getting the undetectable status from a teleport. Two types of attacks. The Shred, which instantly eats a pallet, and just your regular M1. Demi has a lot of unique playstyle. Every Demogorgon game I've played has been different. You get Demogorgons who portal everywhere, use their portals as protection. You get the Demogorgons who barely touch the portal, and will use save the best for last, and rely on their claws and their abilities and just obliterate pallets to get you. And will be Pursuit Demogorgon. Every Demogorgon game is a unique one. Whether I'm playing, my playstyle, I don't change up. But when I'm playing against, always something different. I've never had the same Demogorgon game. And honestly, this is my tell to everyone. If you do not have the Stranger Things pack yet, go get it before Demogorgon's gone. He is a killer you will not want to miss out on. Next into the A tier is the Oni. Oni is just built pressure. You hear that threatening music when you're playing an Oni game. The moment you get hit, you know that Oni is just fueling up, got the power. A strong Oni who can properly use the Demon Dash to maneuver around, get the insta down. Oh, you just got off hook and you're being healed? Guess what? Oni's taking you and the person healing you down in one hit. Oni is super incredible. Now, the only thing that keeps Oni out of S is that he does have that requirement of getting the blood orbs to trigger his Demon Dash. It is not a permanent... Honestly, Oni, I think... I would put Oni at second in the A tier. And the only thing really keeping him out is, whereas Spirit and Nurse, they charge, blink, the phase is always there. They don't have to go and collect the blood. They have their ability from the start, which gives them the advantage. But Oni has an instant down, has map control, and just is all around a threatening killer. Now, this one hurts. Deathslinger normally I think would have been a mid B tier killer. After the nerf and the rework, the increased tear radius has doomed Deathslinger. You cannot quickscope anymore. Deathslinger already had bad map pressure as it was, and that low tear radius is what kept Deathslinger viable. Honestly, I'm compelled to put Slinger into the F tier. But the thing that saves him is the Redeemer, because you get that ability to inflict the broken. You can make them go mend. It gives you a range ability up to, I believe the rework changed it to 18 meters, which is not awful. That being said, with the tear radius now being 32 meters, it's pretty easy to tell when a Deathslinger's in your range. And I will have to double check. I don't remember if Slinger is a 4-4 or a 4-6 killer. But that rework just doomed Slinger. And it took him from being a, like I said, a mid B. You don't see Deathslingers often anymore. Just one of the worst killers in the game right now. The only one I can genuinely think of being worse, honestly, I would put Clown over Myers. Hold on, let's just, alright, move Myers there. Unpopular opinion. Pyramid Head is the worst killer in the game. There is no map pressure. You hear the sound. If you're working on a gen, you know when they're probably going to attack. You know how to counter. You know how to spin it. The fact that a survivor can see where Pyramid Head is aiming ruins it. You can fake a Huntress Hatchet. You can fake Slinger's Shot. You can control multiple areas when puking with Plague. Pyramid Head, it's impossible to not know what's going to happen. And even the Rites of Judgment, like, sure, you get that third state hook, and you get the ability to just send them to a cage to, I guess, save some time. And even most Pyramid Heads don't do that because they want the kill at the end. The cage isn't that strong, and most killers are running barbecue and chili. Now, while the cage will avoid a decisive strike, you don't get those stacks for barbecue, you don't get anything else. Pyramid Head is genuinely the worst add-ons in the game. Outside of extending the range for his ability, the iridescent add-ons are terrible. Pyramid Head, I think, needs a complete rework from just base kit to add-ons. And I love Silent Hill, I love Pyramid Head. He's visually threatening, and lore-wise, Pyramid Head is the strongest killer in the entity's realm. But gameplay mechanics in DBD, Pyramid Head is the worst killer available. Now we move into our third and I believe final contestant for the S tier, the Blight. Blight's ability, 5 tokens, a good Blight who can pinball across the map, is horrifying. You're not escaping a chase with a Blight. If you escape a chase with a Blight, it's because they willingly let you go because they got a Tinkerer proc or something on a gen and saw someone else in a weaker location. Because while pallets and vaults do stop the Blight, all you do is you take the vault, the Blight just bing, 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 and he's right back on you. Blight's speed keeps him in every chase, keeps him in every gen. Oh, end game scenario, Blight can control every door with no problem. No matter how far the door spread is, Blight will be there. Blight is... Nurse is still the best. It is a toss-up between the two. But Blight is just insane. I am not a good Blight, and I still have very good Blight games because of how he just works. A good or god tier Blight is game over. Lethal Pursuer, Tinkerer, you are not beating a Blight. Now, Twins goes right into the C tier. They aren't as bad as people make them out to be, which is crazy because you don't see a lot of Twins gameplay. But the slugging and camping with Victor and Charlotte is incredible. Even if you just use Charlotte, you can place Victor out. You get the killer instinct to know when someone is by Victor. You can camp a hook, camp a door. If you have a really strong loop or a pallet, you just place Charlotte on one side of it. The survivor can't get over to that side. And you just send Victor right back at them. And Victor can get the down or whatever you need. And even if that's not the case, if you miss Victor, oh, you stomped Victor, guess what? It's 5 seconds later, he's right back. So you can defeat Victor, and boom, he's right there. Because if he hits you once, you're already hurt. Victor doesn't need scratch marks. Victor follows the blood trail. Victor is basically running Predator, built into himself. Twins have a 5th perk built in. You don't need Predator because Victor has it. Now, Trickster, I think, is the highest C tier killer, or the... Because while the blades are annoying, they aren't an insta-hit like Huntresses. Whereas Huntress, your hit, that's an automatic, health state. Trickster has to hit 6 blades. And unless you have a Trickster with Shrouds aiming, or probably just a, built-in, way to see where they're aiming, Trickster's blades can be sporadic. Because it's not a guaranteed middle of the screen. They left, right, it is just toss, and wherever you're looking, they tend to hit that direction. Trickster's add-ons are also not too strong, so a lot of what Trickster does is his base gameplay. Now, whereas the Iridescent Photo Card is one of the strongest add-ons in the game, to make you exposed if you are full circle on your first health state. But outside of that, the extra blades don't really matter because he's base 44. We all went against Trickster when he was launched at 60. And even using the 2 highest blades, don't put out 60. And everything else, the recovery time, the speed time is fine. It is just his ability to control blades. It is easy on certain maps. You duck, the blades miss. You have good walls to avoid him. Now, Trickster in the open... Trickster is winning that. He's a slower killer, which definitely holds him back. And if the blades were either less, or you gave him few blades and they were insta-down like Huntress, it'd be higher for him and maybe move him into B. I still think he's the highest C tier killer. And in fact, I'm going to... We'll do reworks at the end. We only got 2 left. And of those 2... Honestly, Nemesis goes into... He's low A, high B. I will put him in the A tier. Because the whip breaks the pallets if you get a tier 2, which is a quicker way than just your regular destroy pallet. The zombies, although most of the time useless, do apply good map pressure to keep people off of gens, to keep, hooks protected if they're in the vicinity. And especially in a map like Larry's or the game or, indoor maps that have narrow hallways, zombies can control those hallways and force you to change your path. I've had plenty of games where a zombie has ruined how long it takes me to get healed, heal a teammate, work on a gen, or if I'm in chase and I'm running right into a zombie, I have to think, is there a way around the zombie, or am I taking a hit here and the Nemesis still gets me? So the zombies aren't always huge. They do have very good clutch moments at times. And the Nemesis' strength on his own, he's the best pallet breaker in the game. Maybe tied with Wraith's Shadow Dance. And, I mean, he doesn't have the best map pressure on his own, which is where the zombies do help. And they give you that detection of, oh my god, someone's here. And then you also have the killer instinct of knowing when a survivor is vaccinating. You can push on them. His add-ons are really good to either increase zombie speed, increase how quickly his tentacle tears up, inflict status conditions onto survivors. Nemesis has a whole arsenal of abilities to use, and I think if he was just faster and if the zombies were smarter and could help more, or there were maybe even one extra zombie, Nemesis would be high A, low S tier. For now, we'll put him lower A, which is still higher than the newest killer, Mr. Pinhead, who I think is a very middle-of-the-pack killer. The chains are pretty easy to dodge. The only thing that keeps him out of the C and D is the box. The box on its own provides an additional objective for the survivors. So not only are you focusing on gens, not only are you focusing on chases, not only are you looking for potential totems, you're focused on a box that will keep the chain hunt and make it a pain to accomplish anything with all the chains flying at you. His add-ons are also really strong, from the Engineer's Fang, which will be the instant, it won't apply if you're already hurt, but it will apply damage if you're fully healthy and hit by this chain. Add-ons that decrease how long it takes for the chain hunts to start, or when the survivors can see the box. The chain hunts and the box carry Pinhead. Everything else about him is pretty weak, but his add-ons, the box, and the chain hunts are so strong that they put him at a B. And if, honestly, they could rework something else to make the chain itself more viable, or maybe make some of his add-ons into base kit, like the one where you can, just the environmental hook. That if a survivor uses the environment to break a hook, another one spawns, and make that a base kit thing, or maybe the aura when you're chained, would put him, honestly, A tier. For now, he's at B. And let's... Alright, any last second changes? Alright. I like the S tier as it is. I think S tier is good. Honestly, I will... Nemesis is the weakest of the A, but I will put Plague over Wraith. I put Ghostface as third in the B's. Trapper I think defines very middle of the pack. I like having Trickster as the strongest C. I think Legion and Freddy should be the lower C's. Twins goes here. And then, honestly, I think Deathslinger, while still slightly better than Pyramid Head because of the Redeemer, does get moved from D into F because of the lack of quickscope ability and the increased tear radius. Maybe he changes if another rework comes, but for now, this is how I think this should look. Yeah, I think this is the list for now. This is the official Vybe 5.3.1. Ignore this 5.2.0. This is my 5.3.1 tier list.